What's up guys, TheAmigoShotz here, and today I'm gonna show you a video you probably all have been waiting for. I'm gonna do a 3.1 showcase of my Windripper build that you can find down below in the guide, called TheAmigoShotz. I've been playing this on a Abyss League now, and I'm currently level 91, but plan to go further and maybe go into even like 93 or 94 if I can be able to do that. At the moment I'm playing the Magic Find version, so currently we have where is it? 38% quantity plus 15 from the Windripper, and once I'll get a 6 link I'm gonna be using as a Demon's Touch as well instead of these Tomb Fist gloves. So we are gonna be pushing close to 70 I believe rare like quantity of items found. And then if we get a Biscus on top of that, it's gonna be really smooth and really insane magic find. But yeah, first of all I'm just gonna run a quick map to show you. Let me see if I can find one real quick. We have a shaped dunes, we can just run that. DPS is alright. It could be way higher if I didn't have the magic find gear on. But still, I'm still pushing like 22k here in hideout and clearing tier 15s and everything like that. Tier 16s, you don't want to do that with the magic find gear. You want to be you want to have like KMs on and good damage, because Shaper and tier 16s require a lot of gear. For my 6th link right now I'm using a 5 link tornado shot. I tried to link my Ripper but it didn't work out that good. What I want to do if I get a 6th link is I'm going to put Mirage Archer in. That will help me a lot with the clear speed and just like the damage as well. And yeah, I don't have a barrage set up in my chest right now. Instead I have been opting to go with the Dev's Opus instead, because in Perfect Building it actually shows that Dev's Opus is better for the barrage. The 100% crit multi and the projectiles is simply better than the Windripper, even without taking a tree, even without any conversion or anything, it's still better. So I figured that I was just gonna buy a 6 link Opus instead, because that was cheaper than a 6 link Ripper. And I'm just gonna be going with a 5 link Ripper for now and 6 link it once I can do that. And then I can also easily swap out to a Chaos and still have 2 6 links in my weapon swap. So that's why I did that. I still don't have 20/20 gems and everything like that. I just got them to 20 and flipped them for 20 quality. So now they're like level 15. So the damage can definitely go way higher. But yeah, overall the clear speed is pretty good. I haven't gotten my shaped vaults with sextants going so far, so I can't really show any footage of like sextanted map clear. But yeah, the magic find, I can definitely see that it's paying off. You know, 50 quantity is like what, 50% more currency, and the clear speed is the same. So generally you get a lot of more currency per hour. 2 seconds. But yeah, the single target for map boss and everything, it's alright. So you shouldn't worry about that. The tree, I don't use the tree exactly from the guide, because I was testing some other stuff out. For example, I was trying to use the what is it called? The jewel with the claw nodes, the lion eye jewel, just to see if I could get a little bit more leech that way, and it worked out pretty good. But it's pretty expensive. It's almost not worth it, but it is worth it, like with 2% more damage or something. So yeah, I'll just sort of quick skill tree here. The skill tree, we start off in the we take the life nodes. The damage here we could take those, but again that's 5 more points that we can use in some more important stuff on the tree. Oh my god, they're writing to me all the time. Okay, so yeah, generally at the start you pick up these nodes here, then you go down. You don't want to grab the crit nodes yet. You're gonna go only take those once you get the Windripper going. So at around level 60 you start picking up them. You could just go down here, grab the elemental damage, the life, and then here you only want to pick up this tree here with the accuracy if you get the Headhunter jewel called Inspired Learning. If you don't have this one, because this one needs 4 of the big nodes in the radius. If you don't have this and just use the Abyss jewel, just don't use these. Don't get these nodes. You can get some other stuff instead. I haven't picked up Phase Acrobatics yet. I might want to do that once I start pushing for levels, because my DPS is alright and I just want more survivability. I still need to pick up this one here. I don't have that currently, but I plan to do that next level. And up here, normally you just don't pick up the piercing shots, but the reason I use pierce notes is because I don't have the Rigwald quiver with the fork. And if you don't use fork, with tornado shot your clear will be pretty trash, so you just need to get some pierce or either use a fork gem or something. But the pierce is probably the best option, so I opted out to just get this, and you get a little bit damage here as well. And it's easy, like you path up here anyways. These nodes here, I don't know if it's worth it to take this jewel socket, but I needed the intelligence, so I thought that I could might as well just grab this jewel socket here with int on the way. If you need even more intelligence, you can either go and grab this node here, or spend 2 points to get some crit and damage and get 20 intelligence up here instead. We want to go for all the frenzy charges on the tree as well, so that's pretty important, but that's like, you only want to get those once you get your Uber lab going. Before that, it's not really that important. But yeah, you can just take a look at the tree creek. You can just pause if you want to. I'm just gonna go and explain the ascendancies. First, like for a normal lab, you want to do the way of the poacher. This will give you attack speed, which is nice, and then of course frenzy charge generation. So you'll permanently be leveling with 3 frenzy charges up. You don't want to take the additional frenzy charges from the tree just yet. Instead, once you go to the cruel and merciless lab, you want to get the phasing going, because the small nodes here are movement speed, and then once you are in the once you get to maps and do the Uber lab, for the last one you want to get Avatar to Slaughter, because then you have had your time to pick up all the frenzy charges on the tree, and that's when this node here gets really important. So yeah, okay, let's go over the jewels real quick actually. The jewels I use, Abyss jewels, you generally want at least 3 damage stats. If you can get 4, they kind of start to get a little bit expensive, but just elemental damage, or attack speed if you have crit recently, or penetration and life. This one here, oh yeah, that's actually something I'm gonna mention. If you use the Tomb Fist gloves, you don't want to, like generally you want to use the Searching Eye jewels, because those are the ones that can roll bow mods. But since Tomb Fist intimidates, which is like 10% more damage, you need to have a Murderous Eye jewel in. Murderous Eye jewels can't really roll any bow mods, so we want to be getting other stats that's like global. We're gonna get attack speed if you crit recently, life, and penetration. Those are the only really things you can get on this. So you can never get a 4-mod Murderous Eye jewel that's gonna benefit you. You can only get 3 stats, so I opted for this, which is a high rolled one, and it's really good. Yeah, the rest of this tree is like just life, attack speed, and damage. I have it on all my jewels really. This one is penetration and damage. I kind of want life on all of them if you want to survive, but so far it's alright without it. Yeah, let's go look at the gear real quick. For you of course want to use a Windripper, and for the single target, if you're using the weapon swap trick, you could also just use a 6-link chest and just a Windripper. But then you could be using a Death's Opus. Death's Opus is the best option according to power building. For the helmet, you ideally want, of course, the Tornado Shot Enchained or the Barrage Enchained. Tornado Shot probably, because we already get, with the Death's Opus, we get enough projectiles as well as Dying Sun and all that, that we don't, like one projectile's not going to do too much. But the Tornado Shot Enchained is still like 8x at the moment, so it's really expensive. Here, if you just use a rare helm, resists intelligence, because we need a lot of intelligence for our gems and wrath, and life. Ideally, if you have all that sorted out, you can use a Stock on his head, which is going to be the best option. But I currently need intelligence, so I have used this one instead. The amulet, just damage, generic like elemental damage with crit multi, crit chance, life, and attributes, and resist if you need that as well. For the quiver, Rigwald's Quills, you want that if you can get it, but it's still like 8x I think. So I opted to craft my own quiver with additional arrow instead. You need a shaped quiver, item level 80, and then I used these essences here because they only cost 2 chaos and they basically guarantee 35 to 38 wed. So you can get a really strong quiver in like 20 tries. You spend 40 chaos maybe, and you're gonna almost always get an additional arrow in those amount of tries. I also got movement speed on this one and crafted attack speed. For the single target, of course if you use the weapon swap trick, you're gonna need 2 quivers as well. So the other quiver I got was crit multi as well. This one is really crazy and it's really good. The base I would recommend crafting on is the spike point arrow quiver. You could also get the penetrating arrow quiver if you want to. Then you can maybe spec out of these 3 nodes here if you want to do that. Ideally you could probably also val the one for +2 arrows, but that's gonna be really expensive and not something I would recommend doing. Rings, you want ventures. If you don't want that and want more damage, you want rings kind of like this. I don't have good examples of rings because they're really expensive, but of course if you know what you're doing, you should be able to know what stats you are gonna need for the rings. Resists, wed, life, and added damages. Opal rings are the best base, but it's gonna cost over 5x if you want a good opal ring, I think. For the belt, these are really cheap. Generally, look for ones without the wed roll and just craft it yourself. You can, like, belts like this cost me 1 chaos, and I crafted wed on it, and it's really good. Like life, strength, because we need strength for our gems as well, and then just resist and craft wed. We'll get an abyssal socket, which is going to be so much damage on top of that. Tomb Fist, I would only really recommend using Tomb Fist if you have 2 sockets. If you only have 1, just use Sadima's Touch instead. 16% quantity is going to be really good, but Tomb Fist is best in slot for damage. And the 2 additional sockets, this one gives me, like, without this I lose 20% damage or something, so it's 20% more damage just from the gloves, which is huge. Gold worm for the gloves, sorry, for the boots, and if you don't want to use that, use dark ray vectors with +1 frenzy. That would also be a good idea, or just some rare gloves with life. Sorry, rare boots with life. If you don't have magic fan gear and have either a belly here or a Chaos Heart, a belly you can reach 5.5k life with rare, like with rare rings and stuff, or with the Chaos you can reach like 6k. If you have a Chaos, you will need a lot of strength, so you might want to respec some of your damage and travel all the way up here to the silent life node. On the way, you will get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 50 strength as well as this node here, so that's 70 strength, and that will be enough to cover your skill, like attribute requirements for the Chaos, and you're gonna get a lot of life. So if you take this node here, you'll be sitting at around 7k HP with Chaos, and damage will still be fine. So that might be something you want to do, but I'd only recommend using that because you will be spending 14 points or something to get all of this, which is going to be a lot of damage, so you kind of want to be at least level 92 to try that, I'd say. Yeah. For the flasks, you want a life flask which removes bleeding, then you want a diamond flask with whatever removes freeze and chill. Actually, we don't need that because we are phasing all the time, so we don't need to have like removes of ignite, shock, and chill. That doesn't matter. We want a quicksilver flask with movement speed. Then if you use a magic fan version and use Queen of the Forest, you want a jade flask of reflexes. Ideally you want over 90% evasion during flask effect, but this is a crap roll and I didn't have any more else. And then you want a dying sun. If you're not using the magic fan version, you might want to use a Series Promise instead here, or a wise oak flask. If you use a wise oak, make sure that your co-resist is the highest, or ideally balance your resist around. Now for the gem links. The gem links for the barrage setup, we use Mirage Archer, Barrage, Elemental Focus, added cold damage, elemental damage with attacks, and Ice Bite. This is the best setup here. Or actually there is a better setup if you want a little bit more damage. No, actually there's not. Okay, never mind. Since we're using early focus, ideally you might think that hypothermia would give you more damage, but you cannot chill the enemy if you're using elemental focus, so that's why you don't use it. On your Windripper, you want to use the same setup almost. You want to use Ice Bite, added cold again, Tornado Shot, and then GMP, Wet, and a Mirage Archer again. If you're using weapon swap, you can have 2 Mirage Archers going. If you have your Queen of the Forest, you might want to use just another gem like Slower Proj in here, and then you have your Mirage Archer only in the Tornado Shot setup for clearing. But you can also use both. Just remember that you can only have 1 Mirage Archer on top of you at the same time. You can't have 2. Yeah. I think that's it, guys. Let me know if I forgot something down below. And yeah, I'll try to answer all your questions if you leave a comment or anything like that, or just PM me in game here at TheAmigoShotz Abyss Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.